Good morning. It's Elaine from Penguin Place Crafts. And yes, you could tell it is morning by, there's the coffee. Still working on the coffee. This morning I feel like there's a little, Lucy, you got a little splaining to do. The hair, okay, it's just a mess. I pretty much, after I showered this morning, I combed it a little bit, but it doesn't want to do anything. That's because I didn't mess with it. I'm going to get a haircut in a couple hours. So it's like, I'm not going to blow dry it and style it and put hairspray on and all that just to go get it washed out and cut. So sorry about the hair. 2, where were you yesterday? Well, yesterday I got into one of my laser focus modes. I got going on a project and I just didn't want to stop. What project, you might ask? You also might be asking, what's that you're wearing? Is that a new sweater? Nope. It's my snuggle blanket. I finished it yesterday. Once I realized that it was long enough to go over my feet and come up to my neck, I did the split off. Although I think I gave it a little bit too much room at the neck. It does gap a bit there, so I could take some nice, soft, bulky yarn. And I have size 13 circular needles. So I could go pick up stitches all around the edge and do a ribbing to make like a cowl for the neck. Then it'll be really warm. That might be too much though, because this is a very warm blanket and it's heavy. So as I was working at it yesterday, I fell asleep. It was so nice and warm and almost like a weighted blanket, and it knocked me right out. So one thing I did after I did the neck split, where can I show you? Okay, I came back to my yarn and I got a partial skein of this Yarn Bee Italia. Years ago, maybe a decade ago, I saw that somebody local was selling 20 skeins of this yarn for $20 on Marketplace. So I met them at a local grocery store and got my 20 skeins, and I still have a bunch of them all over the place. And I had run out of my scrappy balls that I use for this, and I figured, okay, I'll just put this skein of Italia on there and go till I finish up, which works out quite nicely because this is a distinctive. There's not many places there's no other places in the blanket where you have this much of one color combo remaining constant. I played yard chicken. When I got down to the last row, I had like half a row that I ran out of the Italia. So I added a strand of eyelash yarn, which was too thin. So I put some worsted weight with it. And I think the worsted weight, I got down to 8 stitches and I ran out of that. So I had to tie, let's see. There was something like I ran out of one yarn and then I ran out of another. And the last few stitches, I was actually working from both ends of the blue yarn. So I finished my blanket yesterday and I am so cuddly and cozy. Like I could work back here on the laptop, but I'm not going to get cold because I could either leave it on the front like this to cover my legs, which I probably would do, or I could turn it around and have it covering my back if I was getting drafts from the back. Either way, it'll go. So now I have a bunch of other things that I need to work on. But okay, I was not entirely laser focused yesterday. I had seen a post on Facebook in random acts of kindness crochet where people were making little, they called them frazzles, with the googly ring, Google Eye ring. So I pulled out some yarn by my chair. That wasn't the first one I made. What was the first one I made? This one? Nope. I'm not even seeing the first one I made in here. First one I made, maybe still up on my chair or something. Okay, well, I made 1, 2, 3. Oh, this is the first one I made. 4. 5. 6. I think he needs a haircut. Here's the patriotic one. 7. So I still have a lot of these little googly eye things left. And I think this would be a cute little thing to have in a basket at my craft shows. So, they were very easy to make. You take your googly eyes and you're going to do 13 double crochets around the ring of the googly eye, then a chain 2 and connect to your starting chain there, and then chain 1 and do 2 single crochets in each stitch around, including that chain. Connect it, finish off, and then just get some little lengths of yarn, pull them through, sort of latch hook them through, and separate the strands, brush it out, and there you go. I was thinking I might try, I really don't have a setup for doing tutorials. I don't have like a spot with really good lighting where I could bring up a camera to focus on my hands. And sometimes people can be sort of brutal with comments on tutorials. You know, if your hands wander out of the frame, it's hard to focus on what you're doing on your with your hands and still keep track with the camera to make sure your hands didn't migrate, you know. Yes, I had a negative comment on one of my videos yesterday, and that was another aspect of why I didn't get on. Just like, why do people have to be so rude? Just so I might try to do, I might be brave and try to do a video tutorial of how to do these. They are very easy. They work up quickly. I did have a few little tips that might be of interest to people. I don't know. So, what do you think? Should I do one? As if I don't have enough. Woohoo! I just hit my cord. As if I don't have enough projects vying for my attention. So, I will get back to scrap bag 16. I don't know if I've messed up with this. Because it's all white yarn, and I always have cakes of white yarn up by my chair, I don't know if I added some white yarn to the box accidentally. I thought I was closer to the end of this than it actually is. So, oh well. I have an idea for a design with some white yarn. So maybe I'll work on that today. I need to put another row on Trudy's blanket. I have, let's see, the sloth planter, the Highland cow, and the puppy kits in the works. I think that's it for non-abandoned works in progress up by my chair. There are a few abandoned. Well, the sloth planter should be considered an abandoned work in progress. How long do you let a project go before you consider it abandoned? I mean, the sloth planter I don't think I've worked on in 6 weeks, 2 months. I can't remember the last time I was working on it. There's this one out there that's been probably a couple of years. I don't think I started it I think it was abandoned before I started my YouTube channel. And I think it's been over 2 years that I've been working on my YouTube channel. So, yep, gotta get back to that someday. Working on those frazzle thingies, I was trying to figure out what size crochet hook would be best to work on them. And I thought maybe for looser stitches, maybe an H hook would be good. Well, I have this nice H hook that has a bamboo handle. I couldn't find it. Must be in a project bag someplace. And then I was working on, oh yes, there is another project. I started a bunny from Grace and Yarn. Yeah, I've been really starting a lot of stuff lately, haven't I? I was working on that, and I needed a clicker counter for counting the legs. Couldn't find one. I know I have 5 or 6 of them because I had 1 or 2, and then I bought a 4-pack. So yeah, I've got, I think, 6. They have numbers written on the back of them. Not that I ever use the numbers. Couldn't find those. And I had just said to my husband the other day, I said, my pen cup next to my chair, I have a penguin mug next to my chair, has all the pens and pencils in it. I said, the only pens in here are stick pens. I like clicker pens. Where did all my clicker pens go? He said, I didn't take them. I said, I'm not accusing you. I'm just saying. I used to have clicker pens in this, and they're not here now. Well, today, now that I've finished a project, reorganizing things, like this Afghan had taken, see what I mean about the neck sort of being too big and stretching out? This had taken up an entire laundry basket next to my chair. That's empty now. Well, it was empty last night. So now current projects like Trudy's blanket, the Highland cow kit, the puppy kit, the bunny, all those are in that basket. Well, that cleared off the top of my craft cart. Now that the top of my craft cart is all cleaned out, I have one plastic tray. It's maybe about 24 inches long with the various supplies that I use for crocheting. It's got my scissors in there. It's got a little ruler, measuring tape, the clicker counters. Well, those went missing. It's got a little square, like a 2-inch square that I made, that I keep a couple of straight pins and my favorite yarn needle stuck in. 3 of my most common sizes of safety eyes. That little square that I mentioned, I have stitch markers hooked around the outside. Okay, that's my supplies. Well, when I cleaned off the top of my craft cart, there was a secondary box of supplies, another little plastic tray. And that had 2 clicker counters, the missing crochet hook, another crochet hook that I didn't know was missing, and 4 clicker pens. Like, oh, this, and a pad of scrap paper, just stuff like that. So it was like, the mystery has been solved. So when I get around to crafting today, I will be doing so with all of the tools that I need. And if I have to write any notes down, I will have a clicker pen. Yes. One of the clicker pens that I found was from my daughter's wedding. Now that was, she's coming up on 11 years, and is like a little take home for the guests at the reception. Each place setting had a little clicker pen with Connie and Ben and their wedding date and all this on it. I must not use that one very often because 11 years and it's still working. Good pens. Yep, it was a good pen. Okay. I need to gather up the remnants of box 16. I have a design idea, so I need to find either gold or silver sparkly yarn to work on that. Okay, peeps. This will have to be caked up so that I can work from both ends at once. Oh, maybe I'll just use it like that and do the Navajo method. Do you ever do the Navajo method? Okay, let's work on. Let's get a different thing. Find an end here. This is really cool. This is a way that you can take one strand of a thinner yarn and work it triple without like caking it up. So you make yourself a little slip knot and pull your yarn through. Be easier with a crochet hook. And just pull, 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 pull. See? Now you've got 3 strands. And when you get down to the end, where you're starting to run, your loop is starting to run out, you just grab the yarn through that loop, pull, 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 some more, and it works out. You're back to 3 strands again. Now I have a mess I need to untangle. Okay. But I use that a lot. It depends on how you define a lot. But when I have a thin yarn, and I don't like working with thin yarn as much as Shannon does. Shannon over at Leather Yarn, she'll make whole sweaters out of thin yarn so that she has like 400 stitches in one row. I can't do that. I don't have the patience for that. So thin yarn, I'll just triple up and make it into thick yarn. Or I'll use multiple colors to use up thinner yarn, like this thin white yarn. Maybe I would combine it with a thinner green or blue and make something like a gecko or a dragon, so it has sort of a mottled look to it. Mottled, not modeled, mottled. Sort of a tweedy look. But I think dragons, reptiles, a lot of times, they're not really a solid green. There's a bit of a slight color variation. So that's why sometimes I like combining yarns to make dragons and dinosaurs and other lizards. So I have untangled the yarn. So now I'm ready to go play with yarn and hang out for a little bit before I leave for my hair appointment. 10:20, appointment's at 2:15, 15 minutes, 12:15, 15 minutes driving time. So I've got about an hour before I have to grab some lunch. So, bye-bye. I would try to be back tomorrow to be more consistent. So, I'll see ya, and thank you for watching.